In the British town of Codnor, protesters recently rallied against what they fear is a rise of fascism. Their target was the annual gathering of the British National Party, a right-wing group that's just won 2 seats in the European Parliament. At the meeting, BNP chairman Nick Griffin roused the troops by celebrating the party's landmark election victory.
Well, we have won, and we've won on a massive scale, and it's thanks to every single activist, it's thanks to you.
Deemed racists by their critics, the BNP is riding a swing to the right in Britain, mainly on the issue of immigration.
No one minds a little bit of immigration, but for goodness sake, the way it's happened in this country, as I said before, it's not immigration, it's colonisation. It used to be a lovely area, this.
In the country's northwest, Derek Adams is showing me part of Manchester he says has become a Muslim area.
Well, there we have an Islamic bank. Oh, another Islamic centre. Well, it's a church which has now been turned into an Islamic centre.
Derek shows me a map he's drawn up of inner Manchester.
You've only covered that little tiny block there.
The light green marks the area he says is no longer white and British.
The genuine British people are concerned about what's happening.
These changes worry Derek so much that he's become the Manchester organiser of the British National Party. And he set up his de facto BNP headquarters here at his pub, the Ace of Diamonds.
Everyone has them. Oh, there. How's it going?
A top of the morning to you, sir.
Until recently, these working class men of England's north were the country's core Labour Party voters. But something new is happening.
There you go, sir.
Here and in many other places across Britain, voters like these are abandoning Labour and voting for the BNP.
I stood in a ward that we'd never, ever stood in earlier this year, where we picked up approximately 23% of the vote. Second place, which absolutely shocked the establishment parties to the core.
I'm in the Ace of Diamonds and...
Taxi driver Patrick Matthews has voted Labour all his life until this year. He says many in the north are angry with Labour because they feel it's abandoned the working class and done nothing to stop systematic parliamentary rorts, now known as the MP's expenses scandal.
They've been screwing the citizen for 30 years and they're looking at us like if they're lily white and saying to us that we're not, you know, we're only just doing our job and we didn't do anything wrong.
Just an hour south of Manchester, the rolling hills of Wales provide an appropriately traditional base for the strategic brains behind the British National Party.
This is a big one, 50,000.
In the garden of his 400-year-old farmhouse, BNP chairman Nick Griffin is preparing his party's next fundraising pamphlet. Today's target is illegal immigrants.
No, better still not happy.
Still not.
Just, that's it, still not happy.
Immigration detainees, and then that grey heading, scrub what you've got now and just put still not happy.
They also want Britain to withdraw from the European Union.
No, still wanting more.
Okay.
It's an ironic demand given the BNP's election victory at the European Parliament, including a seat there for Griffin himself.
We don't want to be part of the EU for a number of reasons. Firstly, it's ruinously expensive. You're talking about billions and billions of pounds every year. Secondly, we're paying that money for the privilege of being ruled by unelected foreigners. So it's done away with our sovereignty, with our self-rule, with 1,000 years of British freedom. And thirdly, the elite had no mandate to do this. To us, it's thoroughly undemocratic. So all those reasons we want out.
Critics label Griffin's BNP as Nazi-loving fascists. So what do they actually stand for?
We're here for the indigenous people of these islands. We regard that's English, Scots, Irish, Welsh, and people who've assimilated completely to our way of doing things, our way of being.
What's your position on immigration and the migrants who are already here?
Our position on immigration is that Britain is now officially the most overcrowded place in Europe, other than Malta, which isn't a country, it's a postage stamp, basically. So therefore it's time to shut the doors.
Completely?
Completely.
While I'm here, Griffin gets a call from his lawyer. The BNP has a White Britain-only membership policy, which is now being investigated by Britain's Equal Opportunity Commission. If found to be illegal, the BNP could be stripped of its EU seats.
If a group exists to benefit specific ethnic groups, then it's exempt from the race relations laws. This is how you can get adverts in The Guardian for jobs, enormous amounts of taxpayers' money spent, and it's advertised for a black applicant only, for a Bengali applicant only. You know, these groups are exempt because they're operating for the benefit of their communities. We do the same for ours.
Griffin's BNP wants those immigrants and their descendants who do not accept Britain's culture, morals and democracy as dominant to leave. The party gives special attention to Britain's growing Muslim population.
They've resolutely refused to adjust their birth rate to our birth rate, and each generation seems to be more radical than the previous one and more Islamic than the previous one. We have to have a serious debate about what we do when you have two civilizations, two utterly different ways of running the world, which are incompatible. So the whole Western world has to decide, does it want to become an Islamic caliphate, or does it want to remain a Christian, post-Christian, secular, democratic society?
Those views may seem extreme, but with 2.4 million, or 8% of Britain's workforce now unemployed, there's concern that support for the BNP's message will continue to grow.
What the BNP has done very well is it's really stripped away its extremist baggage and presented itself as a radical, anti-establishment alternative, much in the way that One Nation did in recent history.
Matt Goodwin is a leading researcher on extremist politics. He's about to release a new study of what British voters think of the BNP's far-right nationalist policies. He found 20% of British voters support aspects of the BNP platform.
Well, there's no question that the BNP is enjoying a surge of support, and this is a worrying development for British politics. Prior to 2000, the BNP only ever elected one local councillor. It now has over 50, it has a seat on the Greater London Assembly, it has 2 members of the European Parliament. This is an unprecedented development in British politics.
Just north of Manchester, Oldham has a history of race riots, and a large Asian Muslim community has been feeling the pressure. Nanu Mayes is one of the Oldham Muslim Centre organisers. He personally knows of several racist attacks on Muslims, including when he saw a local man knocked over by 2 white men in a car.
The people who's done it, they've actually parked their car, they stopped their car, they got out to beat him even more. It was 2 white lads. And then I ran down, I shouted, you understand? And then they went.
Nanu and his fellow Muslims say even though they maintain their faith, they are truly British and play a positive role, creating many of their own jobs. They fear the BNP is capitalising on recent anti-Muslim sentiment.
The reason they got in there is, I think they've changed the tactic a little bit. Now, if you look at many years back, you know, when they were protesting or they spoke against the Jews and the black and the Asians, but now they've singled out just the Muslims.
The BNP's leadership insists that conservative Islam is incompatible with British society. It even accuses immigrants of sinister plots to sexually groom young white women.
Effectively, it involves young Muslim men, very often in their 20s, pretending to be 17, conning girls of 12 or 13 into thinking that they think that they're beautiful and very desirable and very grown up, and then involving them over a period of quite often just weeks in drink, drugs, then gang rape and prostitution.
Is this anecdotal, or is this actually, you've got proven cases where this has happened?
There's proven cases, anecdotally and without a shadow of a fact. It affects hundreds of girls every Friday night, Saturday night in places like Blackburn and Bradford and Oldham and Luton. It's an enormous problem.
Come to the anti-fascist protests. Stop the fascist rally.
Muslims and anti-BNP activists reject those claims.
Stop the fascist rally, thank you.
On the multicultural campus of the University of London, anti-BNP activists are trying to drum up support. Throwing eggs at Nick Griffin's photo replicates the moment when activists threw eggs at the real Nick Griffin as he went to make his speech accepting the EU seat. The BNP said the attack curbed their freedom of speech and the right to act as a legitimate party. But that doesn't wash here.
For Nick, excellent. Nick Griffin. Well, I hate the swine. Yes. He's a fascist bastard. Why do you hate him? I hate him because he's a fascist.
Fascist on your egg.
Donna is one of the organisers of Unite Against Fascism.
Whatever you want to say to Griffin.
The day the BNP won their 2 MEP seats, she was all over the news, criticising their victory and even their right to run.
I received death threats from Nazis to me, saying they know where I live and they want to come around and kill me. So this is the nature of the BNP. They call me a coon, a nigger, but they know where I live and that my life is going to change and I will not be speaking again very shortly, and I should watch out day and night for them to come for me.
There's no proof those threats came from the British National Party itself. They deny any knowledge or involvement.
Stop the British Nazi Party.
But that doesn't rule out what many fear, that the BNP's election victories will lead to more attacks like this one, when a 17-year-old ethnic Indian girl was hit in the face by what she believes were BNP supporters.
It happened in the area where Nick Griffin won his parliamentary election seat. So,
also, some of the BNP activities has directly threatened that they are going to hit Muslims. They made direct threat, and after that it happened. So there is a correlation about it.
Is that a Muslim girl?
Yeah, she's a Muslim girl.
Protests against the fascist rally, thank you.
Paul Jenkins is a Unite Against Fascism activist from northwest England.
Stop the fascist rally in Codner.
He fears the BNP's growing popularity could legitimise further attacks and racist extremism.
The BNP is a Nazi party. The BNP is a fascist organisation. The leader, Nick Griffin, has a conviction for denying the Nazi Holocaust happened.
In the BNP stronghold of Burnley, north of Manchester, Sharon Wilkinson is keen to show me some of the projects that have propelled her onto the local council.
Park up maybe anywhere around here, John. Well, all these bushes all around here, can you see all there? They're getting a little bit overgrown, and those on the side there are getting a little bit overgrown. So we've been in touch with the council and they said, yeah, they're going to come round and cut some of the trees back.
It's an area of low incomes and council houses.
Hello, Linda.
Hello, Linda.
How are you?
Does she do a good job?
Oh, she does an excellent job, yeah.
Why is that?
Very.
Why is that?
She does plenty of... anything we wanted to do, she does for us.
What are people's views of the BNP?
They seem to listen to what the people want. I think some people think they're racist, but I don't think they're racist. I think they have some good, strong points, you know. I think we have got a lot of immigrants coming in where they shouldn't be coming in, and they're taking money out of the country instead of spending the money in the country, and I think this is what the problem is. And I think it should be sorted out.
And I've grown up with this park.
Just up the road, Sharon wants to show me a memorial to the war dead she's had repaired.
People can see that we're active. You know, we'll get a phone call from someone. It can be anything, and we're there.
What is your position on immigration then, and some of those problems?
My position on immigration is that Britain is full. Enough is enough.
Britain goes to the polls early next year, with a fifth of British voters supporting at least aspects of the BNP platform. Parts of the UK are facing an entirely new political landscape.
The fact is that we've now got high elected office So it makes us, it further boosts our status as the sort of the political anti-heroes. We're the Sex Pistols of British politics, you know, and we just got a #1.